Hello guys, welcome to StudyIQ and my name is Amit Sani and I welcome you in this daily Hindu analysis video. In the morning these videos come both in Hindi and English, and in the evening the PIB videos come both in Hindi and English language. And you see the PIB lesson is extremely important. I am discussing important MCQs there and they are totally exam oriented, and daily I am telling you these things because the selection of these questions and the explanation and the detailed analysis of those questions that is according to the exam, and that is the thing that you people need today. So both the sessions are totally exam oriented these days. From the mains point of view also, stay attached with these topics because your understandings and your opinion making, that would not come with 1 2 3 months, so it will take time, so you should not discontinue the mains learning also. So let's start the lesson here, and these are the pen drive courses by StudyIQ. You can call on these numbers, you can visit the website also, and these are important courses created by experts and selected people, so you should not miss that. And 60% off is also going on, so that's really important. Next, these are the words that I found today, and let's start with the articles. Before that, the polls are gonna start from tomorrow, and 48 hours prior to the first phase. This is a rule that the campaigning must stop, so it has stopped for first phase. And you also should remember this thing, that assembly polls are also happening for these states. These are not only Lok Sabha polls, some states are also going with their assembly elections, so that is important. In total 91 parliamentary constituencies out of total 543 constituencies which are there in India, they will go into polls, and these 91 are spread across 20 states and union territories, so that's important. Now the MCQs that I gave to you yesterday: export promotion councils under Ministry of Textiles. If you go to the website of Ministry of Textile, as I always say, always visit these ministries websites. Many data, initiatives, programs, important details are given on the websites, and all the government examinations, these questions are asked from these digital platforms. So handloom export promotion council, power loom development, apparel export promotion, the synthetic and rayon textile export promotion councils, all are coming under it. So D would be the correct answer here, and you can see the list here. It's a long list, and regarding all the areas, we have important export councils, and since ages, for thousands of years, we have an edge in this area where textiles are an important exporting item from India for the whole world. Okay, for cotton, Texprocil is very important, and you see two important things are there: silk and jute. Jute is a kind of a crop which can only be grown in the delta area, because when it is grown at the same time in that particular year, it will suck all the nutrients of the land, so the land become infertile after the jute's cultivation. So that is why every year we need a fresh sand there, and the fresh soil there, and that comes with the help of river in the deltaic area, and that is why only in the Bengal region jute cultivation happens. And after partition in 1947, the jute producing areas, they went into East Pakistan, which is now Bangladesh, and the marketing area of the jute, that remains with West Bengal. So this was a kind of a disturbance in this particular field, but now we have recovered a lot, and a lot of cultivation of jute that happens in the eastern part of India, and we have a particular jute promotion council also. And the silk, there is a central silk board also. It's a statutory body. Okay, central silk board, statutory body under Ministry of Textiles. So these important PSUs, statutory bodies or councils given under the ministries, they are extremely important, and especially this Ministry of Textile and the Ministry of Heavy Industry, they are having many councils like that, so they are important. You see, these are the PSUs under the ministry. And the Jute Board, as I told you, it's a statutory body. Kigali Amendment. Kigali Amendment is regarding hydrofluorocarbons, HFCs. You see, troposphere is there. All the weather phenomena are present here. All these gases are also here. And when in these refrigeration processes, ACs, fridges, CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons, they were used for making things cooler and making environments cooler. So CFCs were used, but these CFCs, they were extremely harmful for the ozone layer which is present there in the stratosphere. This is stratosphere, this is troposphere, this is tropopause. Temperature at tropopause is around -60 to -80 degrees centigrade, so very, very cool. But in the stratosphere, ozone gas, it absorbs the ultraviolet rays of the sun, and that is why the temperature rises and around 0 degrees there at stratopause. Okay, so this is the condition of stratosphere, where this ozone layer is lying between 30 to 50 kilometers height. So that absorbs ultraviolet rays, and that CFC gas which was released in the refrigeration process, that used to remain for long in the environment, and that reached up to stratosphere, and that reacted with this ozone gas, that is O3, and it actually reduced it to O2 gas, and ozone was no more there. So the concentration of this ozone gas, that became very weak, and it was not the hole of any kind in the layer, but actually the very less concentration of the ozone gas that we found in 1980s, and it was above Antarctica continent, and it was the size of Europe at that time. So it became a very scary issue, and then Vienna Convention in 1985 that came and that approved this particular plan, and Montreal Protocol, which was signed in 1987, in 1988 it became operational, and it was regarding this ozone depleting gases and their removal in a phased manner. So CFCs were about to remove, and that was decided. So in the place of CFCs, we brought HCFCs, hydrochlorofluorocarbons, and HFCs later, hydrofluorocarbons. Now you see, it was found that HFCs and all these gases, they are efficient in maintaining the ozone layer, and they are not harming the ozone gas. That's okay, but the issue remains the same, that they stay for long in the atmosphere. And you see, the very negative consequence of the HFC's existence, that these are greenhouse gases, means they are okay for the ozone layer, but they are not good for the atmosphere because they are trapping heat. So these are greenhouse gases, and the capacity is way above than the carbon dioxide gas or the methane gas. Okay, CH4. So the capacity of heat trapping is more with the HFCs, and now that is the reason that it was decided that HFCs should also be removed from these processes, and some new gases, they should be introduced, and it was the Kigali Amendment in the Montreal Protocol that was done. Okay, and it was regarding the greenhouse gases, and mainly the HFC, which is actually working as a greenhouse gas. And it was decided that developed countries, they should start working on this reduction from 2019 only, and the countries like India, which are in a developing stage, or the other least developed countries and all, they would remove this gas in phased manner by 2040s. So this was decided all in Kigali Amendment in 2016. So that was the importance of it. Now see, a related issue is there in the next question, that is KSEP. This is Kigali Cooling Efficiency Program. This is again regarding the electronic appliances like ACs, fridges and all, and their efficiency of cooling. They consume a lot of energy, and the maximum portion of energy is used in these refrigeration processes. As we all know, fridge, ACs and all, they consume a lot of energy. So we need energy efficient appliances, and they are starting a global cooling alliance in this word, and KSAP is an important stakeholder here. Paris Agreement, and these officials and all, they are also playing an important role. Sustainable Development Goals, they as an important initiative, they are also coming together for this particular global cooling alliance, and these all things are related to the efficient cooling. And KSAP is a particular program that is working in this area, and they are finding new ways that energy efficiency should be there with the cooling appliances. So these star rating systems and all, these are similar things working in the same area of climate change and energy efficiency. and the main goal is that energy efficient system should be there, so that the phase down of HFCs, that becomes smoother and smoother, and the greenhouse gas emission in the form of HFCs, that should be phased out. Okay, so this KSAP is working in this area. Kigali is the capital of Rwanda. It's in Africa. Next question, some more detail is there. You see, for the Montreal Protocol, as we know, Kigali Amendment was there in Montreal Protocol, and there is a financing body, that is Multilateral Fund for Montreal Protocol. You must have heard about the Global Environment Facility. That is a financing body for many initiatives like Stockholm Convention on POPs and Minamata Convention and some other particular programs. So that is, GEF is the financing body there, but this is not the financing agency for Montreal Protocol. Multilateral Fund was created for this Montreal Protocol, and UN Environment is the implementing agency. One more important program, that is Ozone Action, that is also working for that. So these additional data, they may be asked, and this KSAP is in much highlight this year, and this Global Cooling Alliance is also very, very important. Every year you see these kind of questions from UPSC. Now about the articles today. This article we are going to discuss, it is talking in a literary sense, in a commenting way, and in some indirect messaging way. He is talking about some crucial points. He is talking about our behaviors. He is talking about the EVMs. He is talking about our unique relationship with the technology. So that's important. We will discuss that. This is not important for us talking regarding Brexit and all issues are going on, not important for our examination. Now this particular article regarding closure on cynicism, it is again talking about the VVPAT issue, and recently Supreme Court allowed that at least 5 should be checked in every constituency, and the same issue is there with the EVM. So EVM is no more a technical issue, because technicalities, they can be managed and there can be solutions, but it is the issue of ethics, it is the issue of behavioral approach, it is the issue of our relationship with the technology, our understanding, our taking on that, and how we are going in the modern phase. So we will discuss this particular editorial in this article only. Okay, next we will discuss this particular article, important for our examination, regarding 10% quota, that some things are justified or not. We will see that. We will discuss this particular article, small article also. It is regarding the sedition charge on a journalist, and now she has been freed by High Court there, Manipur High Court there, in the sedition judgment. So that's important. We will discuss that. In this article especially, the writer wants to talk about some important things. It says that according to his own experience, he observed that EVM as an issue has become a common topic for small talks, even in the remotest part of our country, and some confusions, some certainties are certainly there with people. That's a different issue, how these bodies like Election Commission and the media houses, agencies, how they are behaving, and are they being biased or not. You see, many allegations are there from the opposition parties that all the IT raids are on the opposition leaders and their relatives, and Election Commission is not heeding their complaints, and many problems are there in the speeches by the ruling party ministers and their leaders, but Election Commission does not pay attention to these things, and only some directives or some threatenings, and most of the times these things are unaddressed. So that's a different debate. What kind of phase is going on? Things are being sincere, things are being unbiased, things are being honest or not. That's a different debate. But regarding the EVM issue, you see, the writer says that when he went for voting last time, VVPAT was not there, and he felt that a lot of precision, a lot of efficiency and control on your fingers, and capacity of your eyes to recognize buttons very in a precise way you needed. And he said that when I pressed these buttons and I came out. I was not sure that I pressed the right button, because you see, for the old people, for the people who belong to last generations, they are not tech savvy people, and these machines and digitized technologies, these are not coming handy to these people. And when many buttons are there, these are similar buttons, and sometimes it's a confusion for old people that which button I am pressing here. Their coordination of their fingers and their eyes, that should be perfect. Sometimes that is also a problem. Sometimes due to some eyesight problems, they are not able to see symbols and all. So these all remain the parts of the problems which are surrounding the EVMs and all the apprehensions and all the suspicions. So that's a different thing. But in a positive sense, EVM has solved many issues which used to be there in the earlier system. Booth capturing, and the powerful people, they were dominating the elections and these constituencies and these polling booths and all. They were always afraid that some attack would be there, and a lot of incidents were there where elections were never fair. Their countings and all these were a big problem. But now these things, they do not stay, because EVM is a kind of a great solution. It's a technological solution. But you see, some issues which are certainly there, and because it's a machine, so many things are possible. That's again a reality. And the relationship with the technology with the people of India is unique, because we were a poor nation. Now we are becoming a richer nation, and things are changing, and most of the people till date, they are living a poor life. But the fascination with the technology, that is rising day by day. We are using mobiles like anything. Means internet is the new god, that is for sure. Without internet, most of the people who are using smartphones today, they won't feel very easy, because we are dependent on this technology. We are living a virtual life there. So the fascination with the technology, that is all justified for our country. And we do not care that something is bringing some negative consequences or positive consequences, or there may be some problems with some things. We are not caring about that thing. Writer says that there are developed nations, and the nations which are very advanced, if we compare the situation with India, they have rejected EVMs. What is the reason? If EVMs are so perfect, then why they have rejected? The countries like Japan, why they are not trusting the methodology with EVMs? Means there must be some apprehensions, there must be some troubles with that. So the shift that is there in our behaviors, in our adaptation to the technology, that is again extreme, and in most of the things we are extreme. Problem is that we rejected the previous thing totally, and we behaved like EVMs have become the best solution, but it is not the truth. And in the media and in the releases by Election Commission of India, it is said that we are 99.99% confident on the EVMs and VVPAT's workings and all, and these kind of confusions regarding the voting machines and all these are totally null and void, and they are not true. So telling these kind of things that something is perfect, that raises questions. And where some examples we have seen, some complaints we have seen, video evidences we have seen, so the problem remains there, and these confusions, these should be resolved, and debating should be there on these important topics. The writer also talking about the ethos today, the modern society, and the ethos means first thing that has changed about India. Whether you want to propose a debate, or if you want to discuss about something, and that thing is supported by the government or a particular party, if you are discussing something against that, first you need to have a certificate that you are a nationalist. First of all, if you are a nationalist according to them, then you will not raise any kind of question, you will not discuss these kind of things, you will not get indulged into any kind of debates regarding that. Okay, so that's the precondition. If you still are going ahead with the debating, criticism, or any kind of doubting, then you will be labeled anti-national. Means the debating avenue is totally blocked today. The peaceful debate, the peaceful discussion, and there may be some criticisms because it's a democratic process. Criticisms are the very basic part of that, but we have totally negated that, and that has become the new ethos, that has become the new part of our behavior, and we are behaving in totally extreme way. And you see, the problem lies here. If we want to discuss something about these new ways, the technological ways, especially in the case of EVMs, then very easily you can be labeled as anti-national here. So the writer says here that maybe we have taken step and we have ignored this thing that many developed countries, they have rejected EVMs and we are adopting that. So maybe we are going in a right direction. That is okay. We have accepted that. That is perfectly okay. But the problems which are there, we must address that. Otherwise, if we say that all others are telling a lie and these machines are a perfect one because we are saying that, and when election commission says that, and many allegations are already there on election commission, that is, it is not working in a biased, unbiased manner, and it is being favorable for a particular party, it is not being favorable to other parties. So when these kind of allegations are also there in the public domain, then the talk of perfection is questionable. So that is the thing. And the writer says that although EVM has become a great solution for many problems, but it is not a perfect one, and these things, they should be understood by the normal public of India, because it is the election process that is the most important thing in our democratic system. Our future is dependent on that. What kind of economic policies would be there, the kind of employment scenario would be there. Although employment scenario is hardly observable today, but the way they are going to lead the nation, the authority certainly is there with the political class. So we are gonna elect these representatives here, and if any kind of suspicion is there in that process, and the tools that we are using in that process, they must be clarified. That is the thing. And now the VVPAT, when Supreme Court says that instead of 1 you should count at least 5 per constituency, so that's a welcome step. And when VVPAT came, according to the writer, then it became a kind of a relief for the conventional voters, that they are having an evidence that whatever they are pressing, the same vote, the same party is getting the vote there. So VVPAT is a good machine, but if the problems of efficiency, if the problems of tampering, if the problem of some kind of allegation of these kinds are there, then these clarifications should come, and there must not be a blanket immunity for the Election Commission of India to say that VVPATs and EVMs are perfect. Okay, so all things we should keep in mind. Always we should keep our minds open. We should also think that EVMs have brought many solutions, and we also must remember that the greatest of these countries, which are economic superpowers today, they have rejected EVMs. So in a way, a writer explains the present situation here. The writer says that what is the mood of the public today, and it says that the mood regarding the technological adaptation in this election process, and not regarding any political party or something like that. That's a different thing. Writer also says that our behavioral approach towards the technology, that is totally positive. There must be some questions. If we talk about mobile, we are living a virtual life on our mobiles, that's correct, and that has become the integral part of our life, that is again correct. But always we give this positive certification to the integration of technology in all sense, whether it's governance, whether it's our life, whether it's our workplace, everywhere technology is the help for us. We are not looking at the other part. You see, because of mobile, people are losing attention, their memories are becoming weaker and weaker, they are struggling with eyes problems, neck pain problem, and the psychological issues are the biggest ones. They are isolated ones, and they are living the virtual life that is not the reality, and they are away from emotions and all kinds of troubles, and mainly the disturbance in the basic peace of our mind, the basic peace of our soul, that is disturbed by the consistent provocation and all these work styles which we are adopting with the mobile technology. So every technology has its own negative consequences, so we should also look at that, and we should see that there can be some very legitimate things which are harmful with the technology. So the same case is there with the EVMs, and we should not ignore that these are only machines, and we should not be dependent totally on that, and if there are some apprehensions, then we must be aware. Now things are clarified now, and VVPAT came, and all the confusions, questions, all are over. Pollings is about to start, so nothing can be done now. But the best thing that we have to do, that be aware and be realistic. We should not go according to the sway of these the media emotions provokings and all, and we should be ultimately responsible for ourselves. So the biggest responsibilities, they lie with normal public, and the highest level of precautions should be maintained there, so that minimum damage can be there. Otherwise there may be some problem, because this election is extremely important. We are standing on a very crucial point of the history. So this was the article, and the language was a bit complex, and I have tried my best to make you understand in the easiest manner. Next article we will discuss here: the right to criticize. The Manipur High Court's sedition judgment on Kishore Chandra Wangkhem sets an example how she was criticizing the chief minister of her state, and because of that sedition charge and the National Security Act, that was brought to justice, and she was behind the bars. And that was the most unfortunate thing in the democracy. You see, in the democracy, people choose representatives, and it is similar a situation where we have security guards out of our colony gates, and maybe at our house gate. So there are security guards, because we cannot maintain everything. We cannot keep an eye 24 hours on our home, on our gates. So we have to keep some people who would be professionally able to perform that duty, and we would pay for that, and the things which are there all are managed, and we are secure. So a particular task is given to particular people. So the task of governance, the task of managing things about the country, economy, and all these decision making, all these things we are delegating to these representatives, and we are actually electing them. So actually the main power lies with the normal public, but this is nowhere the case in today's democratic process of our country. These politicians, they are unapproachable for the normal public, and only the rich class, the powerful people, they have this nexus, and they can perform all kinds of tasks with these politicians. For the normal public, it is impossible that they even can send their messages directly to the representative. So here you see, we have every right, every voter has a right to criticize the government, and especially in today's India where things are so problematic. So it is the right for every person to criticize, and this is the part of the democratic process, because it is not a monarchy where king is perfect and king is unquestionable. This is a democracy. But you see, for quite some time this system is behaving like a monarchy, and you see, if somebody is criticizing chief minister and you are putting an honest journalist behind the bars, how much justified this thing is. And we are following USA in this particular case, where it is decided that if some things some writing or some speech or something like that, if it is not provoking imminent danger or imminent violence in some area, then sedition cannot be applied there, because sedition is a very huge a thing, and it's a very dangerous thing. Imminent lawless action, if that is not taken after the speech, then we cannot apply Sedition or National Security Act there. And we are certainly following that particular thing, especially after 2011, and it is the part of natural justice also. So it's nowhere a thing that courts cannot understand here. And in this particular case, unfortunate thing was that Mr. Kishore Chandra's statements would not have provoked an immediate violent uprising against the government, and hence they were protected by Article 19 1A of the Constitution that gives this particular right to us to say something against the government. But you see, now he is released, but he is not released saying that sedition was wrong. He is released because of some technicalities at the court justifies that because of some technical reasons and all, in some other important reasons, not sedition, we are releasing you. So that's unfortunate, because the main thing was that why you put National Security Act or sedition charge on a journalist who was criticizing the government. That thing was to be attacked here, because that is the most problematic thing in free India. This sedition charge that was used by Britishers, and because they were fearing that some uprising would be there against us and our survival here would be impossible. So that is why they were putting these very dangerous and restricting laws. But still these things are being used here, and that is nowhere the case in any free country in the world. Unfortunately, what has been often witnessed in India is the political functionaries get incensed and cannot tolerate criticism. Clearly we can see every day. And then they slap sedition charges on preventive detention laws against their critics. According to the preventive detention law, you can put anybody behind the bars and you won't have to justify anything, because security regions, National Security Act is the ultimate thing, and in the name of security you can say anything these days. What is the problem today? You see, when parties were saying that we are not politicizing the security matters and all, and yesterday, and the highest person in India, Mr. Prime Minister says that vote for the security forces in India. What is the meaning of bringing security forces in the election campaign? What else is the election? What else is the politicization of the matter? You see, the religion and the security issues, they should never come in the political campaigns. These are very sensitive and separate matters. Elections, government are there for governance and for development and for managing the country in terms of economy, polity, and every levels of progress. Where security issues are sensitive things, whatever government would be there, that has to maintain these issues, and you cannot ask for votes on the basis of security regions. These are highly questionable things in the democracy, but these things are being done. You see, nuclear command authority is there with the political executive, that is there. But suppose this is the ultimate power with the government, the people who are ruling a country, but how can they talk about sensitive issues related to security? So nuclear command authority is just an example of the security issue, and in the same way the attacks on the of these security forces and the particular operations which are run by security forces, maybe across the border or maybe staying inside our borders. So these are national issues, security issues. They are nowhere related to the election process of India, because the soldiers, they do not have anything to do with the politics of India. They are following the orders and they are believing blindly to these political orders. So that is why this should never be the case. And how can you take the credit for this particular thing? But these things are openly said. So that that particular issue is never addressed. And if somebody asks questions to the government on these kind of issues, then the sedition charges are invited. So what kind of a democratic process is this? That is the problem. So it is a very important question for mains, very important issue for essay also, that the working of the present politics and the working of the present election process in India, and these adjoining issues of suppression of the questioning, suppression of the criticism, and how these things are related to the election process. So you can write a very important essay on this topic. Okay, so some things are learned by experiences, some things we are learning from history, some things we are learning out of our experience, and the natural justice is formed out of these learnings only. So that understanding that particular system tells us that these kind of imposing of sedition charges and national security acts, these are not justified things. If somebody is talking about the poor class, or maybe they are talking about the Adivasis, or they are talking something against government policies, then these things are not threat to this country's security. And if they are misusing these powers because they are powerful, because they can manage things, because they can manipulate media and all, that does not mean that important people should be behind the bars. That's the case. Next, the issue of economically backward class and the 10% quota. Recently, the report came regarding National Institute ranking framework. In this report, shocking revelations are there. It says that around 30% is the number for economically backward classes students in both private and government institutions, which are ranked by Ministry of HRD and this NIRF, because MHRD released this NIRF in 2016, and now after 2 years these are reports. Now say that this economically backward criteria, which decided about 30% of their numbers, this is based on the old criteria where around 5.5 lakh annual income was the criteria. If we take it to the present criteria of 8 lakh rupees and the 5 acres of land, then these 30% would go towards 50-60%. That means the population of economically backward communities, that has become huge after the new norms of 10% quota system. And if we compare their numbers to the socially backward groups like SC, ST, OBCs, then their numbers are less. So the representation should be at least equal. But what is the revelation here? The numbers for SC, ST, OBC students, they are 44% in the public institutions, and in the private institutions only 19%. And their eligibility is there for 49.5% students at least, because that is the reservation. That means at least 49.5% should be there, because their total population combinedly for SC, ST, OBC is around 70% in this country. So they must be there at least 49.5% in number, but they are only 44% in public institutions, which are very less in number. More are private institutions where only 19% is the case, and these are only institutions which are covered under NIRF. That means the huge number of other institutions, they are having this number very less for the SC, ST, OBC students. So this is the clear shocking detail that is totally against the public perception, that they are availing a lot of advantage and they are availing a lot of reservation benefits. You see the representation is very less, from 19% to 44%. And it's a problematic issue because the education is more and more privatized. So this number would hover around 25 to 30% only, and the population is 70% here. So we can understand this thing, that what is the problem. Problem is for the representation, problem is for the equality, and problem is also the disadvantage which is there in procuring merit also. If some people say that they are getting selected on lesser marks and all, so the issue of merit is also raised. So we also have to see the condition here, that if we talk about the jobs, then we also have to talk about the educational institutions and the representation of these classes. If they are having less representation, means in future they will have less opportunities, they will have less capability to clear these examinations, because representation is also very less. So the demand for reservation, that would be much more justified, and even today that is justified because their representation is very, very less. What to do with these numbers? And you see, in the present system, the poorest of poor means the poor students who are belonging to the general category, they are also not getting the fair share, and the people who are the students who are socially backward, they are also not being able to they are in a sufficient number. So both are having trouble. Now, because of the present criteria of 8 lakh annual income and 5 acres of land, 95% of Indian students, they have become under this particular category. So what kind of ruling is this? What kind of advantage is this? This is fooling the students, fooling the job aspirants here. 95% will when they will come into this particular group, then it would be a very tough fight here, and there would be no meaning of this competition, because 95% means only 5% are out of this particular criteria who are richer students, and they have to explain this thing, how any person whose annual income is 8 lakh rupees and is having 5 acres of land, then how that person is living in the similar conditions. Somebody who is earning 1000 rupees a month, how you can put both these students in the similar category? So these things are problematic here. Means in the present case, neither the socially backward, they are getting their fair share of representation, fair share of educational admissions and the jobs, and neither these poorest of poor students belonging to general category, they are having their share there. So these are problems of the systems, and why these things are done. Now the intentions are becoming clearer and clearer. Now these reports, they are telling the truth that political regions were dominating the policy here. Okay, so a fair share of peaceful debates and discussion should be given to these important topics, and mainly before the elections, these should be very important issues. Otherwise, we are wasting our times with unnecessary issues, and we are ignoring these crucial points here. This thing we have discussed with the particular article regarding EVMs and all the apprehensions which should come down now, because VVPAT in number 5, they would be checked in every constituency, and the technical glitches, they must be maintained here, because we have improved a lot here in the last winter elections, assembly elections. Only 2% cases were there of the technical glitches with these machines, which were as high as 20% in the summers last year. So we have improved here, and we should keep improving here, and minimum number of instances of these failures should be there. Now that should be maintained here. Next information is regarding center denies RTI plea on CIC appointments. This case was there in Supreme Court. Supreme Court ordered that all the information should be disclosed on the public domain, because the case is so sensitive, because the allegations were like that some people who came on panel, they didn't even know about their selection. These people never applied for the post, and these people were selected, and the people who wanted to come there, they were rejected there. So this information was crucial, this information was important to reveal, and this direction was given by Supreme Court. But center openly denies that RTI plea would not be entertained here. We cannot reveal this data. So what kind of process is this? That should be discussed here, because when in some arbitrary manner, according to the allegation, in arbitrary manner, if these things are done, then these things should be known to the normal public, because this is not a banana republic, this is not a monarchy, this is a democratic system, and we should follow the rules here, because rules are made just to strengthen the democracy. If openly these things are denied, what is the meaning of keeping CIC there? Or what is the meaning of Right to Information Act there? And all kinds of troubles are there with the RTI. So this year a mains question is sure regarding RTI, its working, and the pressure on this particular body. Because recently we have seen many things from the judiciary, from the political class, that every kind of a strangulation is there for the Information Commission. Okay, now these are important questions. Try to look for the data and try to look for the important answers of that. You can put them into answers section in the comment section, and these questions certainly will help you in the prelims this year. Thanks a lot. Keep watching. It was Amit Saini.